Welcome to All Things Possible. I'm Kris, and this is Bill.
I'm Bill.
We are excited to have you with us today. And Bill, why don't you start us off?
You know what? I want to ask you a question right to begin with, and that is, what risk are you willing to take? Would you cross a 6-lane freeway in the middle of rush hour traffic with all the cars doing 60 miles an hour? Okay, I hope that your answer was no, otherwise you need to visit someone with a lot of degrees on the wall.
Maybe a couch?
Yes. Now, would you do it for $1,000? Okay, and I think you may stop and consider and ask questions, what are the variables? And I hope that then you would still say no. But now if I told you that your child was standing in the far lane of traffic, standing in the middle of traffic, you know you would do it. You wouldn't stop to consider how many cars there were, how fast they were going. You would do it. And the reason is because you had a big enough reason. You had a big enough why. You were motivated. And so that's our episode today. Go ahead and share that with them, dear.
Yeah, anything is possible when your reason is big enough. When we have a big enough reason to do something, that's when we take action and we get it done, no matter what. So this episode is all about finding that reason, finding that why. Why do I want to do it? What is that why for you? Now, a lot of us, especially me, have found a why as to why I'm in business, what I'm doing, what my life is all about. And that's a huge why, our purpose even. So,
well, you know, one of the things that we run into with the clients that you and I both work with is they'll talk to you as you're mentoring with them and say, "What? I just can't get motivated to complete my assignments, or I can't get motivated to take the action to talk to the people I need to." Whatever their goals are, they're trying to accomplish. It's like, what's the matter with me? And then they'll come to me as the energy healer and say, you know, come and flip that magic switch so that I can get off the couch, so that I can be motivated to do what I need to do. Really, most of the time it comes down to your reason isn't big enough. And so,
exactly.
Absolutely. So we've worked together to come up with a formula. How do we help our clients through these things? How do we get them to, what motivates them? Because your motivation has to come within. You know, you can go to a seminar and a rah-rah, and you come home and you feel great, and then you sit on your couch till that feeling goes away. So
that's true. You have to find something that is bigger than yourself and bigger than those around you. You've got to find that big reason why. And before we jump into the formula, I want to invite you to go to our website, www.allthingspossible.biz, right here on the bottom,
okay,
and join us. Get the 7 traits. We teach 7 traits to have everything in your life work for you to create a thriving life. Go get the 7 traits right now and have the opportunity to really make a difference in your life immediately. Watch some of the video series and you will find dramatic changes in your life. So go get that at our website, again, www.allthingspossible.biz, right here. Okay, so Bill, let's
Yes.
go into this formula now
Okay,
that you're
you know what?
done looking at the website.
I wanted to make sure it got put there. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, if we don't have this reason, if we don't get clear on what our purpose is and what our why is and our reason to do things, do you know what a squirrel moment is? You know, you can easily get distracted and just kind of lose your focus, and you start going around chasing shiny objects. The other day I was sitting in my office studying and trying to put together a topic that I was working on, and I looked out the window, and there was this cute little squirrel running around on the rocks and playing. And I looked at this little squirrel, and I just stopped working. I thought, oh, how cute, you know. Squirrels are so easily entertained. They're so simple, God's simple creatures. And I was just looking at that, and about 45 minutes later, Kris hollers in and says, honey, what are you doing? Oh, nothing, just watching a squirrel. And then I realized,
just watching a squirrel, having a squirrel moment.
Then I realized squirrels are easily entertained, and I just spent 45 minutes watching one. So if our reason and our purpose isn't big enough,
So true.
We can get distracted really easy.
So true. Well, and we need to not be chasing someone else's why, someone else's reason. If you are trying to do something that is somebody else's dream, it feels like a job. Maybe you have an employer that has their big dream, their big why, and you're employed by them. That is awesome as long as you can find the reason why you want to do that aspect of it. Find your expertise, that's what you love to do, and then you'll enjoy going to do it.
But if you don't have that focus, too often you can get sucked into other people's dreams. And that's okay. I mean, if you're working for someone else, that's perfect. Give them 100%, 110% value. Okay? But if their values don't exactly match yours, find yours and find a way to fulfill your purpose.
Exactly. Let us share with you the formula that we feel will help you to find that purpose, find that reason, find your why. Why don't you start, Bill?
Okay, well, what we got is this formula right here, where if you go to each one of these areas, and we'll talk about these in turn, but these 4 areas of your life, if you'll make a list and journal about these things. So you have 4 different lists, and then you'll take and compare those 2 lists, and the common themes that you find in those is a really good formula. When you find a common theme that fits in all these areas, that's a real good clue that that's your purpose. Now, that's not a hard, fast rule to find your purpose. But let's just talk about this, and we're giving you hints, clues, tips, things that we have found very beneficial as we work with clients to help them find their purpose. So, first off, the best and most important one I like to talk about is, what are you passionate about? What is it that takes your breath away? What is it that, when you think about it, your heart beats a little bit faster? What is it that makes you forget to eat and maybe go to the bathroom? Okay.
What gives your heart joy? What do you feel good about? What do you feel passion for?
What brings a tear to your eye? What makes you giggle?
What would you spend extra time after hours doing?
Yeah.
Those are the kind of things. Find your passion. Find what you want to do and are willing to spend a lot of hours, even if they weren't paid, doing.
Okay, so what are you passionate about? And write down several things, not just one thing, but write down. And when you think you've written everything down you can, just leave your pen there on the paper, leave your pen, and just stop and just go into neutral for a minute and think, and pretty soon ideas will start to come to you.
Yeah, what am I passionate about? And start writing.
What is it that makes you excited?
I'm passionate because.
I'm passionate because. The next one.
Right here, that's your values. What are your values? What are your beliefs? What are you willing to make a stand for? What's a cause that you are behind? Where are those values? Write down what really matters to you. Is it family? Is it integrity? What is it that really matters to you? Maybe it's health. Maybe it's fitness. For me, it's mentoring and making a difference, changing lives, bringing happiness back, good relationships, helping to find balance. Those are things that are values for me, but are also things I'm passionate about. You'll find that once you start to write about these, you'll come up with similar answers because they all fit into your main purpose. So let's go to the next one.
Let me just add a few things here.
Okay.
Again, this is something that you do on paper. On your values, another thing, what are my values? Another way to ask this question, if I did not have blank in my life, what would be the use of, what's the purpose of this life if I didn't have this in it? Those are your values. Kris mentioned, is it family? Is it your creator? Is it your relationships? Is it your life partner, your forever partner? What is that? What is your values? Is it about, do you value children? What is it? But find those values. Okay, let's go ahead to the talents.
So what are your talents? What have you learned? And this one also kind of goes with our next one, but what talents do you have? What natural abilities? My twin brother, it didn't matter what he did, he was fantastic at it. He could pick up a basketball and be first string. He could pick up the football and be first string. Didn't matter what sport, didn't matter in his occupation. He was a master carpenter. He had a lot of talents. He was very gifted in several areas. Some of us don't have quite as many as those, and they're not as easy to see. If you play sports and it's easy to see, that's an easy talent to pick up. But what are your talents?
What if your talent is just being a really good listener? That you notice that people start coming to you to tell you their problems. Okay?
Right. Maybe you are really creative and you can help someone else focus in on what they need to do next in their life.
Yeah. Your talents can be, it doesn't have to be playing the piano or playing some sport. Thank heavens, or otherwise I would have no talents at all.
Exactly. And I use the talent of sports because that's the first thing we think of, is those talents that we see outside and we see all around us, and we compare ourselves to everyone else at their top talent. But what are your talents? What within you are your abilities? What special gifts do you have? What could you help and teach others about?
Okay, very good. So yeah, what comes naturally to you? What have you really developed? What do you love to do with your time? Those are your talents. And just notice how other people interact with you, and you may find your talents there. Like I say, are you a really good listener? Are you a good friend? Are you a good problem solver? Do you love to do puzzles? Okay, do you love, are you, and that can tell you, you can be one that finds missing pieces, you know, to really put together a puzzle of someone else's life, and it can go beyond your crossword puzzle or the jigsaw puzzle. It can go into life puzzles, but
Right.
that can be a clue to your talents. Go ahead.
Find your innate strength, and that will be your talent.
Absolutely.
The next one is, what areas of expertise do you have? Where is your knowledge, your skills? What have you done for years? What have you expounded your education into? And how do you have that ability to have that expertise? Bill has had natural talent and ability in being intuitive and being able to do energy healing. And then once he added knowledge to it, it became overwhelming with just how much intuition you had and how he was able to help other people and make a difference. At first it was kind of like dabble and this is interesting and I like it. So it fit values, it fit talents, and then he got expertise and became extremely passionate.
But as I got more expertise and training in it, all of this, I got more passionate about it. It fit perfectly with my values, and my talents actually increased. I became more intuitive as I increased my expertise. So it's, again, we've got this as a circle, because your why and your reason can keep getting bigger and powerful enough.
Yeah,
but
it
find
continues
where all
to
of these
move.
come together.
And then they can all come into your purpose, your why.
So now I mentioned one thing at the first, that you don't, this is not an absolute 100% the only way to do this, of course. But I would say, if you're looking for your reason to really, your life purpose, if you're really looking for that, it needs to be something that you're passionate about. It needs to be something that will motivate you, so to speak, to cross the freeway with 6 lanes in rush hour traffic. And it needs to be something that matches your core values. Not your parents, not your pastor, not whatever that is, but your values. You have to make it fit your heart and what's in your core values. And if you're very passionate about something and it fits in your values, you can get expertise in it. You can develop your talents, okay? You can develop that. You've heard of people who were crippled and they end up being Olympic athletes because it was a weakness, but it was a passion. And when they had enough passion, they could overcome everything. So it really has to fit your passion and your values. But if you find something that has all 4 components, that's going to be your purpose. So let me give you some tips. Let's give you some tips on brainstorming on how to, just different questions to ask yourself as you're coming up with these lists in these 4 areas. And the first thing I want to tell you, the first tip is turn off the filter. Nothing is too outlandish. Nothing is too crazy. Just, we're brainstorming. Remember when you was a kid and you used to daydream that you could walk on air, that you could do whatever?
You were an astronaut,
That you could fly.
fireman.
I'm going to be the president. Okay, they're serious about that. You talk to a 5-year-old kid says he's going to be president. He has no doubt he's going to be president. Okay, it's as we get older and we get beat down and people tell you you can't do that. You're stupid. You're wrong. Whatever, that we start to doubt ourselves. So take yourself back to that childlike state of nothing is impossible, and just brainstorm. Because remember, the 4-minute mile, how long did people go knowing that nobody could run faster than 4 minutes? because everybody's society, that was a rule. You can't do it. Man is not made to run faster than a 4-minute mile. Once it was broke, then several people started running faster than 4 minutes.
Exactly.
Okay, so turn off your filters. Quit. Don't. For this session here, you can get to reality later on. But for this session, for this purpose, all things are possible. Okay, so the best way to do that is to connect with your inner child. Go back to that inner childhood. Here's some questions, and you may want to pause the video or whatever and write these down as we say them. But what did you love doing as a child? Okay. Go ahead.
What were some hobbies? What were things that you liked to do? And what were you really good at? Were you good at drawing? Were you good in music? Were you good at listening? Like, what were you good at? What were the things that you loved to do?
All right. Absolutely. And when you played roles, when you played games with your friends, what roles did you like to play? Okay.
In
that
role
can be a
playing.
good clue.
Like, were you the sheriff and other people were the bad guys? Were you the Indian and, what
the cowboy
cops
or
and
what?
robbers? What were you?
Yeah.
What did you like to be?
And then what were you doing when you lost track of time? When time it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe the whole day is gone. When mom and dad had to come and call you and come looking for you, what were you doing when you totally lost track of time? When they had to drag you away from it? Just one little thing that, a lot of kids, I love to play video games as a child. Does that mean that they have a future in video programming or computer programming? Perhaps. But again, and I want you to just kind of think of things, expand your thinking. Maybe that person that just spent hours and hours and spent their whole childhood playing video games, maybe that person loves a challenge, loves solving problems, and moving to the next level. Okay? Don't think outside of just a small parameter here a little bit.
Right. And if you had all the money in the world, how would you spend your time? What would you do if you had all the money in the world? If money weren't an option, so it wasn't, I have to be to work from 9 to 6, what would you do? How'd you spend your day?
And think long term. Hey, for the first 3 weeks, I would probably spend it on vacation, laying around, watching all these inane, brainless episodes on Netflix. Okay, for the first 3 weeks. But after that, you get bored. If you've ever been laid up with a physical, an operation or something for a long time, pretty soon you can't wait to get out and do something. So take yourself beyond that first month of just vegging out and relaxing. What would you do then? And then if you had a perfect day, sit down and describe. Here's a whole exercise in itself. What does your perfect day look like? If you had one day, if you knew that tomorrow was your last day on earth, what would you spend tomorrow doing? And write that down. Take some time. Do some soul searching. That'll get you real serious real fast. If I had one perfect day left, what would I do with this day so that I could leave? What would my legacy be in that one day?
We'll expound it from one day to, what if I had 1 month? What are the things I would do in this 1 month? 1 year. If this is my last year, what would I do? So expound it, and it will help you pull back to what you really want to accomplish, what legacy you want to leave, and how you want to move into that.
Because many of these things go far beyond. Everybody wants to be absolutely wealthy and rich. But if you're absolutely wealthy and rich and don't have your why, if you don't have your purpose, you're going to be in trouble. How many movie stars or pop singers have you seen that absolutely had a whole bunch of talent? Because of that talent, they got very, very wealthy without ever having established what their core values are and find a purpose to life and a reason. And so you have all that money, and yet if you don't have a purpose, if you're not focusing on something that's bigger than yourself, many of these people end up committing suicide. Or they go to drugs, self-destructive things. They have affairs. They can't keep a relationship together. Okay? These are some of the things to focus on. So don't just say, oh, I want to be absolutely fully rich. Why do you want to be rich? What do you want to do with that money? That's where you want to put that.
Exactly. Now we want to go through a list. We've come up with several things that can help you to discover your reason, discover your why, find your purpose, and we're going to actually be reading these. We've compiled a list of different things that you could ask yourself, different ways to get to the bottom of what is your purpose, what is your why, and What are your reasons? And this is also good times that you can ask these questions, even if it's weight loss or be a better parent or something with your occupation. Maybe it's getting more motivation to accomplish small tasks at home. You know, get more organized. Do things like that that you have on a resolution or a goal that you may have set recently. Those are the things that we want to do. So we're going to go ahead and read this list.
Okay, so the first thing is ask yourself, and again, these are writing exercises. Okay, so you can go back. You're actually putting together a puzzle, and they will all come together if you follow this formula that we're talking about. What is it that makes you smile? What people make you smile? What activities and hobbies and projects? What is it that just makes you smile either on your face or in your heart?
Okay, what are your favorite things to do now as well as in the past? What are your favorite things that you like to do?
Now, we talked about as a child, what made you lose track of time then? What is it that makes you lose track of time now? As long as it's not controlled substances, write it down.
You gotta always laugh. That's with Bill, we always laugh. What makes you feel great about yourself? Those feelings where you're just like, okay, warm fuzzies. What makes you feel great about yourself?
Now, who inspires you the most? What people inspire you? Perhaps teachers from the past, people that you know, family members, heroes, famous people, people in history that it really inspire you. Now write down what their traits are, because there's a little secret. The traits that you really recognize in other people, you have them inside you. Perhaps in the dormant stage, but they're inside you. That's why you recognize them and you're drawn to them. And that's something you can aspire to. So get clear on what those traits are and why you admire these people.
And what do other people usually ask for your opinion or help on? What do they come to you for advice in? This one actually is one of the reasons I'm doing what I'm doing. I used to have people come to me all the time and ask for help, ask for assistance in moving forward in their life, in making change and getting through tough trials. So find those things that people come to you for advice in, and when they ask things from you.
All right. Next one is, if you had to teach something, now don't freak out. I know that when they rate all the fears that we have, even above the fear of falling or the fear of heights, is the fear of public speaking. But if you had to teach people something, what would you teach them? Do some very serious thought about that. What would you teach people if you had to teach them something? What would that be?
Okay, the next one, what would you regret not doing, being, or having in your life? What would you regret not having done? If your life were to end, what would you regret? What would you miss?
And the next one is, we talked about this already, but again, put it on paper. If you knew you were going to die in 1 year from now, or if aliens were going to come and abduct you and never bring you back,
apparently you like that. Or maybe they did.
I'll never tell. If you had 1 year left on this planet, what would you do with that year? What would your legacy be? What would people say about you? What kind of a mark would you leave? How would this planet change in that year? What would you do?
And the next one, what are some challenges, difficulties, hardships that you've had to overcome? Or you're in the process of overcoming. We share almost every episode about this. So you can see where my why came from, right? One of the big things for me was this one right here. The challenges, the hardships. You know, we've overcome a lot of deaths, and we've had cancer, we had adoption, a lot of different challenges. What challenges do you have in your life? What are some trials that you have overcome?
Okay, and again, how would you want to be remembered? What's your legacy? What do you want people to say about you when you're gone?
Okay, and if you could get your message across, you know, that public speaking, if you could get your message across to a large group of people, who would those people be? And what would you tell them? What would your message be for them?
Let's phrase that in a little bit so you don't go to the freak out about thinking that you would have to stand up and deliver that message. If you had a large group of people that you wanted to know something that's very, very valuable, okay, then ask the questions. Instead of, not necessarily that you would have to get up and present it. That causes a little guy who lives in here and his friends to freak out.
And
so,
this can be done on the internet. You don't have to ever even face anyone in person.
yeah. Well, there's a
In
multitude
our
of
world,
ways.
there's 100 ways.
There's a multitude of ways to get
Or more.
your message across, okay?
that you
But
can
we're
share.
brainstorming here. You've got a message inside of you. What is that? What do you want people to know, and who are those people? Okay, the next thing is what causes do you strongly believe in or connect with? What's passionate? What are you passionate about? We have a neighbor out here in our area that is passionate about animals. Talk about her.
Yes, Faith Ching. And she's passionate about animals, and she's done rescue for animals. She did it for years without being paid a dime.
Pulling lots of money out of her own pocket.
Right. And she's since gotten certified by the state, and it's actually a refuge now where animals are brought to her. But she has hundreds of animals out there, I swear. There's 100.
Yes, and a lot of people come to help her. Now she's not doing it on her own. Because her dream, her reason, her why was big enough. She started out with where she was. Now she has people all the time when we go past her house. There's a couple of cars of people volunteering to come and assist her with these animals. People show up with feed, with extra pumpkins, whatever it is, to feed the animals all the time because she was passionate about it. That's not my dream. I love animals, but not that much. But that's hers, and that's what she's passionate about, and that's her purpose. What's your purpose?
What's your why? What's your reason for doing what you do every day when you get out of bed? You have to have a reason. You have to have a why. I want to leave you with this thought. And before I give you the thought, I want to give you an opportunity one more time to go to our website and get the 7 traits. The 7 traits can help you create your thriving life. Go to our website at www.allthingspossible.biz, right here where we have the Vanna White helping us out. This last phrase that I want to leave you with is this. Ultimately, living your life with a clear purpose means focusing on that which matters most. Knowing your purpose will motivate you to take action and embrace challenges that will stretch you as much as they inspire you. When you are powered with a passionate why, all things are possible. Thanks for joining us in this episode. Find your purpose, find your why, and have a great week. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you next time on allthingspossible.tv.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya.